right. Good Thursday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Thursday. I am your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson. Let's go and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to talk about tonight. Obviously, we will talk about the current weather, what's going on right now, also the weather for tonight, and then for our future as well, for our short-term future, long-term future. We'll talk about tropical storm, future major hurricane Melissa out there, and then also we will most likely may talk about some temperatures dropping to mid 60s, lows in the mid 30s to mid 40s. We're going to talk about that as well. So potentially our first 30s of the season coming in. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, go ahead and do so. We are right now at 6 people watching and 6 likes. 6 people watching and 6 likes. I think that's probably the first time that I've looked. And the amount of people that are in here, everybody has hit the like button. But will it stay, though? Will it stay? That's a great question. So let's go and give you a round of applause. But if it is glitching out and you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Let's go on and talk about what's currently going on. So currently, right now, in the state of South Carolina, you may not be surprised, but there's nothing going on. There is absolutely nothing going on. We are nice and dry, but we cannot say the same thing for everybody else. Rainfall going up there in Washington, as well as in the Four Corners region over here in Utah, Nevada. Kind of Nevada, like in the very southeastern tip of it, but Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. You also have some severe storms ongoing as well. We have a severe storm right now, 60 miles per hour, in ping pong ball sized hail going right through the city of Oklahoma City right now. And then also, severe weather moving in all the way from Midland, Texas to Odessa, Texas, all the way over near Kermit, Texas. Severe storms going on all over here, and those storms right now have gusted up to 70 miles per hour. So a lot of things going on over there as well, and some flooding as well is also possible throughout these areas. So that's what's going on over there in the central U.S. Rainfall also going on in Kansas, even up here in New York, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. And other than that, everyone else looks clear. Now for your cloud cover, no cloud cover right now over the state. We're nice and clear right now. No cloud cover at all. And if we go in and push this forward all the way through into tomorrow morning, you can start to see some cloud cover maybe in like the southern low country. Maybe a bit of the upstate getting in on some of that cloud cover. But for the most part, it stays clear until you get maybe later into the afternoon, into the evening. Cloud cover seems to be moving in from the west. And so that could potentially be something that we're going to have to look for as you go into tomorrow evening. Current temperatures right now, 60 in Columbia as well as 56 in Orangeburg, 57 in Somerville as well as 58 in Georgetown, 61 in Murray's Inlet as well as 63 in Myrtle Beach, 55 in Conway, and 57 in Florence, 57 in Hartsville as well as 61 in North Myrtle Beach, 59 inside of Aiken as well as 57 in Greenwood, 57 Newbury, and 58 in Greenville, 60 in Columbia as well as 59 in Anderson, 57 in Spartanburg and Gaffney, and even around York, 55 in Rock Hill. Now for your low temperatures for tonight, 42, Greenville, 41 in Spartanburg as well as 41 in Rock Hill, 44 in Newbury and 49 in Columbia, 50 in Orangeburg and 46 in Walterboro, 50 Moncks Corner, 53 in Charleston and 55 in Hilton Head Island, 48 in Georgetown and 50 in Myrtle Beach, 44 in Florence, Dillon, and even around 46 in Sherrod. Now, I want you to notice, if you look up there, you see the low 40s, those being in like Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, Lawrence, Rock Hill. But look inside of the more lighter regions. You can see that those areas over there actually could potentially be inside of the more lower 40s, maybe even the high 30s. So I'm not saying that we will see widespread high 30 temperatures. I'm just saying that there is a possibility. And so our first high 30 of the season was possible, I guess, yesterday. Now I think today, or tonight, I should say, we could definitely see the potential for some isolated 30-degree temperatures to go throughout the upstate, throughout those areas. So when I say 30s are possible for a good amount of the regions, it's because it's more of a widespread area, more or regional area, more than just an isolated area that we can see here. So it's possible that we can get some 30s tonight. Now, in terms of rainfall, no rainfall is expected, so no precipitation as we move into tonight and tomorrow. Crazy score for tonight, we're at a 9 inside the calm category. Inside of the calm category, there is indeed obviously going to be dry conditions tonight. It's going to be chilly, obviously clear, stable atmosphere, high pressure centered over the Appalachians, promotes excellent radiational cooling. And there's a weak reinforcing front that will pass, but it's not going to have a big impact at all, if any. SPC outlook for tonight, no thunderstorms are expected tonight, tomorrow, or on Saturday, so we are good with thunderstorms for the next 3 days. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, that's when things start to change. On Sunday, October the 26th, isolated flash flooding is possible. This goes all the way from Gaffney to Spartanburg, pretty much most of the upstate, going all the way into Augusta to Aiken to Saluda, McCormick, Edgefield. All of these areas over here, isolated flash flooding is possible, even over here in like the very western low country, like near Snelling or near the Savannah River site or these areas. Now, day 5, Monday, everybody pretty much has a chance for some isolated flash flooding on Monday. So Monday, you need to be watching out for some isolated flash flooding. Everybody, from the low country all the way up to the upstate, everybody needs to be watching for it. Now, there are a couple of areas like you can see that are not in it, but again, still 5 days out, things can change, and so I still would say everyone needs to watch out for it for now. If things change, obviously things change, but for right now, we're still 5 days out. Now, in terms of the models, we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You go in and push this forward all the way through into tomorrow afternoon, nice and dry, nothing going on. We are good to go. What about for our even longer term future? We are absolutely good all the way into October the 25th at 2 p.m. That is Saturday afternoon. Still nice and dry. No rainfall here. Now, what about even further into the future? So we're going to go all the way through October the 26th, the 27th. Finally, I think by the 27th, we might start to see some rainfall start to move in. And honestly, it's kind of more looking like a definite. This is Monday right here, and this is why we have that isolated flash flood risk, because of this heavy rainfall that will be moving in from the west. Is this a cold front? Like I said, I believe it was yesterday, last night, and honestly just looks like some moisture trying to move in. Yeah, cold front behind it. So there will be, some warmer air that comes in for a little bit, but that cool air is going to come right back through again as you go into late October, like the last couple of days. And so there will be another cold front that will be passing us kind of after that system. So this little system right here on the 27th is kind of just like a rain system, but the one on the 29th that comes through, that one will be a cold front. And we could obviously see definitely these cooler temperatures. You can see up there snow up there in the Appalachian Mountains up there in North Carolina, and that's only 162 hours, so we're getting closer to that. But in terms of temperatures exactly, I was talking about temperatures down inside of the 30s being possible, and I mean, I'm seeing all the way through to the 24th, all the way through tonight. Obviously we were talking about the 40s, like the low 40s. And then once that cold front passes again, I'm seeing again low 40s, maybe high 30s again. And now I really start to see some 30s as you go into around like early November, around 33 up there in the far upstate, 39 over near like Greenwood. And so you're seeing even more on the 4th, for example, 39 Gaffney, 36 in Greenwood, 40 in Columbia, 45 all the way near the coastal areas. So we definitely need to be watching for these 30 temperatures as they move their way through. But enough with the temperatures. Continuing this forward, I'm not seeing anything at all. It looks nice and dry. Pretty much after that system moves past us on the 29th, high pressure is here, and it just seems to want to remain dry. So that's it for our long-term future. What about the tropics? Tropical storm Melissa is still with us, still going to be causing some issues. What does it look like right now? Well, right now, it is still getting its act together. Its center, like the center of the actual storm itself, is a bit disorganized, and so that might be causing some displacement with some models. I've seen online some people talking about it. So is that, which let me go ahead and move that. Is that going to affect, how the storm moves? Absolutely. If it does not have if it does not have an organized center, obviously it's going to be disorganized. It's not going to be going the track that we might think. And so does that mean it's going to shift like 100, 200, 300 miles west? It doesn't mean that. It just means that there might just be like some minor displacements. But that's just with the models. What's going on right now? So the first area that we need to touch on is obviously Jamaica, because due to Melissa's slow motion, the risk of prolonged multi-day period of potentially damaging winds, heavy rainfall resulting in life-threatening flash flooding, and numerous landslides and storm surge continues to increase for Jamaica. Preparations to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. Now. Since strong winds and flooding rains can begin as early as tomorrow or Saturday. Then also for Haiti, heavy rainfall will result in catastrophic flash flooding and landslides across southwestern Haiti by this weekend into early next week. Extensive damage to roads and buildings is expected, potentially isolating communities for an extended period of time. That is some dangerous wording right there. This is a life-threatening situation, and immediate preparedness to protect life and property should be taken. Strong winds could also potentially last for a day or more over the Tiburon Peninsula of Haiti. And so, again, dangerous wording for both Jamaica and for Haiti, but not only those two areas, but for the remainder of Hispaniola, eastern Cuba, heavy rainfall could also produce significant life-threatening flash flooding and numerous landslides in southern Dominican Republic. Interest in Cuba should also monitor the progress of Melissa, since the risk of heavy rainfall, damaging winds, and storm surge appears to be increasing. And so, we unfortunately are going to have to, at least for them, going to have to go through that. Now, your question is, well, what have the updated models say on its impacts to the U.S.? And I actually will show you this. You can see actually the tropical storm wind probabilities here on my screen. Over here like in Florida, at least the southern tip of Florida, they actually have a 5% chance to receive tropical storm force winds. Now, does that mean they're going to get a full-on tropical storm? No, it's just a 5%. But tropical storm force winds are possible for the southern tip of Florida. So that's something that they're going to have to watch out for as well. And obviously, in terms of hurricane force winds, not really looking too much for that. But this is what the cone actually looks like. I don't know why this just stopped working, but I can go back. I can go back right here. Here's what the cone looks like. I don't know. There we go. So this is what the cone looks like. Again, it's moving so slow, and that's what's the main problem. It's moving north at only 2 miles per hour. That is not a good sign with all this rainfall that's going to fall. Not only that, but then also just the damaging winds that will result for multiple days. For some, maybe around a good 2 days or so, but just on end, tropical storm to hurricane force winds going through these areas. And so you can start to see that it's trying to take that turn up to the north. You remember if you were here for the past couple of days, you remember how it was over here, just in between Jamaica and Haiti. Now, then it kind of shifted its way to the west, just to the south of Jamaica, and now it's still taking its way up, now just on the western side. And it will become a major Category 4, hurricane, and it's expected to reach winds of up to 145 miles per hour with gusts of up to 175. Now, if you go even into the models themselves, hurricane models still have this thing going out to the north and east. Great news for us, not great news for obviously like Cuba and the Bahamas and areas like that. But that is good news for us. And then for the GFS ensemble, GFS saying the same thing, taking it out to sea, past the Bahamas. Not a good sign for them, but a great sign for us here in South Carolina. And then for the GEPS, you have a couple of runs that might go just to like the south of Florida. Some maybe even trying to get to Florida, making landfall in Florida. That's a possibility. It's very low, but it's there. And so they definitely have to be watching for that as well, especially if you know anybody in southern Florida. But after that, I mean, the majority of them still take that line out to sea. Now, for the intensity guidance for Tropical Storm Melissa right now, it is around that Category 2, Category 3-ish. You have a couple obviously getting to Category 4, and you have one going all the way up to Category 5. And that is a possibility. That is a possibility. I mean, you just saw it's expected to get winds of up to 145, 12 miles an hour higher than that. It's a Category 5, 157 miles per hour. And that we would be talking about, honestly, the amount of Category 5s that we have had so far this year. I mean, it's almost been like almost every hurricane has become a Category 5 that got to hurricane status. Now, if it was just a tropical storm, it was just a tropical storm. But almost every hurricane that has occurred this year has gotten a Category 5 status. Somebody was talking to me about it earlier and said that they might need to set a record for that. I don't know if it's a record, but I still think that we need to look. We still need to look at it. We still need to be aware for it because anything can happen in weather. But it's looking very unlikely that this thing will impact us over here in South Carolina at least. So that is all that I have really there for the tropics. The Euro, I usually would talk about the Euro, but the Euro here, it's still on that same train of it's just going to go up to the north and east. And after that, like I said, after we're done with Melissa, I'm not seeing too much else behind it. I see like a couple of low pressures out there, but it's nothing that I'm like keeping an eye on, saying, oh, we got to keep an eye on this. Maybe a couple of low pressure going on in the Caribbean, but they don't really last too long at all, to be honest. And we're still just way too far out to say, so no point in really showing that. So that is it for the tropics. So let's go on and talk about the drought monitor. So drought predictions have been inside the chat ever since the stream started. Drought predictions have been inside the chat. Obviously, option number 1, drought has grown. Option number 2, the drought has decreased or stayed the same. Option number 3, the drought is gone, but the abnormally dry is still there. And option number 4, the drought and the abnormally dry is gone. So if you don't know what we're talking about the drought monitor. We have been inside of a drought here in South Carolina for a good little bit now. And so every Thursday we come here as a community and we go on and try and guess to see what the drought monitor will be. I have not seen it yet. It comes out every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I don't look at it because obviously I don't want to cheat or anything like that and look at it. There may be a time possibly to where I might like see like a little glimpse of it by accident, maybe like a post coming through, obviously accidentally, but I've already made my decision on what I have chosen by then. So for the most part, still kind of news to me. So hopefully everyone has put their votes inside the chat because we're about to do this right now. Let's go on and get a drum roll and see what it is for tonight. It is the drought has grown. That was my option because when I go back and I look at the observed precipitation, honestly, we didn't get that much rainfall this week. The areas that are inside the drought got like no rainfall. So there's no possible way that the drought could have potentially expanded. And so that was obviously my guess. I agree with the majority, the 56% that got it correct. So congratulations to the majority that got it correct, 33%, and the 11%, so the 44% that said it decreased or stayed the same, or that the drought is gone. Your optimism, really do love the optimism, but unfortunately we still have this going on, and even we have a new D2 drought, which is a new severe drought over here inside of York County, going inside of Chester County, and then also inside of Lancaster County as well. So those new areas now have a new severe drought going on. And then for the moderate drought, D1 goes on for a lot of the upstate now. Midlands, like Columbia, is included in there. Over in the Aiken included in there. And then other areas over here in the yellow, abnormally dry. Doesn't mean you're in a drought, but you need the rainfall. And that is obviously not as bad as the tan and the orange areas, but definitely you need rainfall as well. But this white area over here, coastal areas, for the most part, Tri-County area, Georgetown, Williamsburg County, still doing good. No rainfall is needed for these areas down here. So you guys are still doing fantastic right now. And that is all that I have to say for the drought monitor for tonight. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with, I believe, Ms. Tolliver was first tonight. She comes in and says, or is that Mr. No, that was Mr. Chris who came in first. He says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. He says, please remember to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also share. There is vital information here. Absolutely correct. Right now we have 15 people tuned in, only 11 likes. If you are a part of that 4 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. He said, had a pretty good day despite having to fix my truck. Well, hopefully you got that fixed and all is good there. Ms. Tolliver said, good evening, pleasant day at my house. Hope this weather continues. Well, luckily for you, because I know you're a cool weather fan, it will. It will continue. And it's going to be dry too. So, luckily for you, that seems to continue. Let me see, what else do we have? Mr. Anthony comes in here and says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula comes in and also says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. My Nana comes in and says, hello, Jay. A little chilly, but a good day. I enjoyed the sunshine. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully you can get some more outside time tomorrow, as we're not really expecting any rainfall anytime soon. Until around the 27th, so around like a good 4 days from now, when I say for like another like good time. I mean, just like another 4 days. My Aunt Lula comes back and says, nice day in Georgetown today. In the early morning, it was pretty cool. It was, I think it was around 45, 46-ish at my house this morning. The lowest temperatures I got, 43 actually. So that was my older one. The newer one, which I can go in and check that out as well. The newer one said that this morning it got all the way down to 43 as well. So both of them said the same thing. Now for Trail, who comes in and says, greetings everyone, greetings to you. And then Thad says, even just if I trust all as well, it looks like we'll be getting some rain tomorrow. It would do my yard good. That's, it does look like that. We'll talk about San Antonio, but good news for you. Definitely do have some good news for you. We'll go on and talk about that, but also, Thad, I do apologize. I did see your email that you sent me, honestly, I don't know how many days ago it was at this point. You sent me that picture 7 days ago, and I just saw it. So I do apologize for that. I'll show that tonight. I will show that tonight. Even though that was 7 days ago, I will still show it either way. So let's go on now. Speaking of San Antonio and the other locations, we have 4 other locations to talk about. We have San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and also Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about those locations is because we have people from those areas who indeed tune in almost nightly. And so, because they tune in, because they go on and show their support to the channel, we go on and we talk about them just because even though their weather is not being talked about, they still show up either way. So we start off with San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at 72, high temperatures tomorrow at 89, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 71. No precipitation is expected at this time, but there is a slight chance of showers tomorrow, and thunderstorms are likely tomorrow. So look at you. You finally, for a good time in a hot minute, might get some rainfall. So this is absolutely fantastic. Now, unfortunately, I would just say, oh, you're just getting some rainfall, no flash flooding or anything like that, but just a good amount of rainfall. Can't say that. No severe weather is expected tonight, but tomorrow you're under a marginal risk of severe weather. That is for a 2% chance of tornado, so isolated tornadoes are possible. Isolated damaging wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour is possible, and isolated damaging hail of up to 1 inch in diameter is possible. So you have to watch out for that tomorrow. And not only tomorrow, but on Saturday. Isolated severe weather is also possible for you on Saturday. Now, what about excessive rainfall for you? In terms of excessive rainfall, isolated flash flooding possible on Friday, tomorrow, and Saturday. And there's a potential that they might even move it up to scattered flash flooding instead tomorrow. So flash flooding will be an issue that you might have to deal with on tomorrow and Saturday. So make sure that you're watching out for that. But rainfall is coming. That's a great sign for you, and I know that y'all are still inside of that drought. Now for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 42, high temperatures tomorrow at 66, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 39. No precipitation is expected at this time. And in terms of severe weather, no severe weather for you, but that fire weather concern still remains there, up there, that was going on today. I think that is pretty much done now, and it did actually go throughout a good part of the upstate of South Carolina too today, but that's all done with, and so we don't have to worry about any more fire weather or anything like that. Excessive rainfall, though, a different story. On Monday, isolated flash flooding is possible on Monday, so make sure that you're watching out for that. Then we take a little bit of a break, go to some more quieter weather in Philadelphia. You have low temperatures tonight at 43, high temperatures tomorrow at 59, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 40. No precipitation is expected at this time. No severe weather, no excessive rainfall. You are good. And then finally, for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 60, high temperatures tomorrow at 70, and then 73, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 58. Thunderstorms are likely tonight, and you've actually already have gotten some rainfall already. Thunderstorms probably as well. Showers are expected tomorrow, and then thunderstorms are expected tomorrow night as well, so prepare for that because you are expected to receive them. Not only that, but as those storms, as they've now pretty much moved out of your way, I don't think you really have a chance for severe weather for the rest of tonight, but after that, I'm not seeing anything else. I see that you're kind of close to a little chance for some severe weather. I believe it is tomorrow. Isolated damaging hail, and maybe even some isolated damaging wind gusts, and an isolated tornado is possible for you again tomorrow. So make sure that you're watching for that as those storms move through. Excessive rainfall, obviously you have some of that. That is for not only tonight, isolated flash flooding, but tomorrow, scattered flash flooding is possible for you on tomorrow, Friday. And that is it for those 4 locations outside of South Carolina. So let's go on and talk about what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. So currently, severe thunderstorms and areas of heavy to excessive rainfall are forecast over parts of the southern plains into the lower Mississippi River Valley Friday through the weekend. An atmospheric river followed by a Pacific storm will bring periods of gusty winds with low elevation heavy rain and high elevation snow to parts of the northwestern U.S. through the weekend. We also do have some freezing that will be ongoing, not only for like the Appalachian Mountains from North Carolina to Virginia to West Virginia to Kentucky to Ohio, Indiana, Illinois will be freezing over there into Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, eastern Iowa. Some frost will also be going on North Carolina, Virginia, pretty much all these same areas going over there near Philadelphia, near New Jersey. And so a lot of these areas are already going to be receiving some of that frost. And then also some fire weather concerns continue in North Carolina again tomorrow, as there is another chance for some fire weather tomorrow. Now, they're not really saying it's critical, but still something to watch for. And then flooding also ongoing in the central U.S., but we already talked about that. Let me go on and show Thad's picture that he sent me about 7 days ago that I never showed. Here's his pictures. He said, what a beautiful day it was on October the 16th. That was last week Thursday. Picture shows around like 78-ish degrees or so in terms of hygrometer, which is just humidity, around like 70% humidity. So it's a bit humid, but not terrible. But around 78 degrees, I mean, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I wonder if you are still inside the chat. It seemed like you sent me that at 12:52, so I'm assuming that that was around like 12:30 or so when you took that, 12 p.m., noon, somewhere around there, which would make sense for that time. But I know, you've been having high temperatures now in like the 90s for the most part. Like for tomorrow, I don't think tomorrow might not be a good example. Yeah, 89, but that's still kind of close to 90 though. That is all that I have to say for tonight. We've been here for 31 minutes, so I need to go and get up out of here. Hopefully, everyone has a fantastic rest of their Thursday evening. Thad says, yes, it was midday, so thank you so much for saying that. And then I will be back tomorrow morning with your Friday morning forecast update. Make sure you go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Also, make sure that you don't just share it to family, to friends, to acquaintances, but also share it on social media, because that's also a big help as well. Remember to be back here tomorrow morning. We have just Friday to go through, and we will be at the weekend. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday.